Some movies, they're not just movies, right? They're these incredible works of art and psychology that really stick with you and maybe even change how you see things. And today, we're going to dive deep into one of the absolute best examples of that, Pixar's Inside Out.
Okay, let's just jump right to the heart of it all. This one line. Story analysts point to this as the absolute core message of the whole film. And it's so much more than just a nice quote, right? It's basically the psychological argument that the entire story is designed to prove. And trust me, how it gets there, it's just genius.
All right, so first up, why does this movie just work so well? Well, it's all about how they tell a story from the inside out. The crazy thing is, the success of this movie is no accident. It's not just a bunch of cute characters and a funny plot. I mean, it is that, but it's so much more. It's built on this incredible foundation of real science and storytelling genius that takes these huge, abstract ideas and makes them feel totally real and incredibly personal.
Okay, next up, the science behind our cast of characters. Let's meet the emotions, because, believe it or not, they aren't just random. They're actually grounded in some serious science.
So we've got these 5 characters basically running the show inside 11-year-old Riley's head, right? Joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust. And here's the kicker. That specific lineup, it wasn't just picked because it would make for funny scenes. Nope. It was chosen because it's scientifically accurate. Yeah, the movie's main cast comes straight from the work of this psychologist, Paul Ekman. His big idea, his theory, is that there's a small set of basic emotions that are totally universal. Like across every human culture, we're all just hardwired with them. And what did the movie do? It literally took that academic theory and turned it into its cast of characters. So cool.
And this is where the movie is just so brilliant. It never says an emotion is good or bad. No way. Instead, it shows us that every single one has a crucial job. Joy, she motivates us. Fear keeps us from getting hurt. Anger helps us fight for what's right. And even disgust, she's there to keep us from being poisoned. Literally by bad food, but also by bad social situations. They all have a purpose.
Okay, so we've got the characters, but how do you build a whole world out of abstract stuff like memory and personality? Well, this is where the visual storytelling just gets next level. First, let's talk about core memories. These aren't just your everyday memories, right? They're these supercharged, glowing orbs that represent the big, defining moments in Riley's life. And they're so powerful that they literally create the different parts of who she is. And those parts of her, they become the personality islands. You've got Family Island, Friendship Island, Hockey Island. It's such a perfect way to show how our most important experiences build up the main pillars of our identity. And what's so wild is that this isn't just a clever movie trick. It actually reflects a really cool idea from cognitive science. Our brains kind of do this naturally. We take abstract ideas and, to understand them, we turn them into physical places in our minds. Just like researchers Kusho Ulu and Kiak said, so the film just visualizes that process perfectly, making something like personality feel like a real place you could actually go. And the deep cuts to psychology just keep coming. Think about it. When Riley's personality islands start to fall apart, that's a perfect visual for what the psychologist Erik Erikson called an identity crisis, something a lot of us go through as teens. Or what about when sadness touches a happy memory and it turns blue? Well, that lines up perfectly with Elizabeth Loftus's research, which proved our memories aren't like video recordings. We actually rebuild them every time we remember, and our current feelings can totally change their color. Okay, let's get to the real emotional core of this whole thing, the unsung hero of the story. We're talking about the purpose of sadness. So here's the central question of the whole movie, right? If every emotion has a job, why does everyone, especially Joy, treat sadness like she's a problem? Joy's whole mission is basically to draw a little circle around sadness and tell her not to touch anything. She thinks sadness is a bug in the system. But what if she's totally missing the point? And this is the big conflict. You've got Joy's goal on one hand, keep Riley happy, no matter what. But on the other hand, you have the actual scientifically proven function of sadness. And what is that? It's a signal. It's how we tell other people, hey, I need help. I need comfort. I need you. And this leads to such a beautiful, profound idea. A licensed therapist, Jonathan Decker, pointed this out when talking about the film. He says that the deepest connections we make in our lives, they don't just come from being happy together. They come from being vulnerable, from sharing our sadness. There's a kind of joy, a kind of closeness you can only get by going through the tough stuff together. And that right there is why the end of the movie hits so hard. I love this quote from Cinema Wins. Talk about catharsis. That absolutely wrecks me.
Because it's so true. That moment when Riley finally cries and lets her parents in, man, it's just pure emotional release. It works because we all know deep down that feeling is real.
And the movie shows us this breakthrough in the most perfect way. Riley's old, happy memories, they don't disappear, but now they're touched by the sadness of what she's lost. And that creates a whole new kind of memory orb, one that's swirled with both yellow and blue. It's literally the feeling of bittersweet made visible. And that's what emotional growth looks like.
So, let's bring it all home. What's the big takeaway from this perfect emotional story?
Remember, at the beginning of the movie, the control panel in Riley's head was super simple, like one big button. Well, by the end, it's this huge, complex dashboard with levers and dials for everyone. And that's not just a funny upgrade. It's the whole point. Growing up isn't about learning to be happy all the time. It's about getting a bigger control panel, learning how to let all of your emotions work together, sometimes all at once.
So that really leaves us with one last thing to think about. The movie's big lesson is that every single one of our emotions has a purpose, especially the ones that feel uncomfortable. So maybe it's worth asking yourself, which of your emotions have you been ignoring? What might you be missing out on by pushing them away?